I run the IKEA Foundation. I don't run the company. I can't take no credit for what's happening in the company. I just run the foundation. We have partnership with 60 partners. We run about 100 programs in 45 countries around the world, all to help children and youth in some of the poorest communities in the world to create a better life for themselves and their families. So that's my focus, but this was all supposed to be about business. So I will talk about business. I've tried to represent the company and how the company think about this. First of all, I have huge belief in companies' ability to drive social change, to drive change in the community and specifically drive change for children. If you put your mind to it. And we heard some really, really good examples this morning about companies really taking this seriously and seeing the opportunity. If you take IKEA, and IKEA is a home furnishing company that runs stores in all of Europe, North America, Canada, and Asia, but not in South America yet. But you probably have heard about it. So IKEA, the thing about IKEA is really that they don't have a CSR department, because CSR is the way IKEA does business. Being focused on sustainable resource management, sustainable energy management, having a very strict code of conduct for your supply chain, taking a social responsibility wherever you can, is not only what they do as a company, because it's based on their values, but they do it because it's also really good for business. So what we're trying to do is playing a role in the society and put children at the heart. And children is at the heart of what IKEA does. Actually, we talk about children as the most important people in the world. So I only run the foundation, but I actually think that in many ways what the company does is more important than what the foundation does, because the company can influence things in society that I can't influence. So I wanted to take this opportunity in the last minutes here, after we've heard so many great examples of what we should be doing. I wanted to leave you with 3 examples or 3 thoughts about how I think we should look at this. The first thought is really about the fact that this is about purpose. It's about how you look at your business, how you define this in your corporate values and your corporate culture. It's not about a side program. It's about how you act as a company. Children must be part of the business strategy, how you think about the company. I believe in that corporation's role in society. You have to believe that the corporation's role in society is much more than just creating short-term profits for your shareholders. You have a much bigger role to play in society. And that's where the corporations come in and the ability to actually drive change that I believe so fondly about. And it's not a decision about doing good or making profits. You do good and it's profitable, and that's important. Different companies can take different strategies based on the nature of your business, and that's what we heard this morning. There's so many ways of engaging, either directly through your business or indirectly through partners. So that takes me to the second point, and the second thought I want to leave with you, and that is that preventing child labor is just the beginning. That's a minimum. The compliance part, this is not about the compliance part. This is about really making a progressive, proactive stance and taking an action in trying to drive children's rights in the community, in the part of the community that you connect with as a business. You can play a lot of different roles as a business. You can start by actually having a policy, developing a policy, a child rights policy in your company. Look at how the company interacts with children, can have impact on children, how the company can make a difference in the society, in all elements of the society where the company is engaged. You can drive child-friendly policies in your supply chain, as IKEA has done in part of their code of conduct that they apply to all their suppliers in 50 countries around the world. You can develop child-friendly products and designs in child-friendly spaces, such as if you go to an IKEA store, you will find a creche, a kindergarten, where you could put your children, and they can have fun while you're having fun shopping. It's actually quite good for business too. But that's the typical thing you can do to make the whole family happy and make the shopping an experience. You can make a commitment to not market to children. No marketing to children under 18 years. And you can advocate for children's rights. You can advocate for children's rights by supporting organizations like you see here, and other organizations, child rights organizations that does great work in the community. Organizations that can't do that without your support, either indirectly or directly. You can advocate for children's rights. That's an opportunity every company has in every setting. And you can arrange your workplace to make it accommodate for children, for people having the opportunity to create a balance between being a parent and being a worker. So when we open up supply chain, and we had a supply chain in India for 30 years, when we open up retail operations in India, we will apply the same principle at IKEA as we do in every country around the world. We will have 50% women at all levels in the organization. That's going to be very difficult to do in India. So we will have to set up kindergartens for the employees, so the employees can have a place to place their children while they work, and where children can get the early childhood education, as we talked about this morning, in as effective way as possible, so we can contribute to that as well. The third thought I'm going to leave you with is this is something that takes time, and it's not about having the great master plan. It's about continuous improvement. It's about a journey. It's about starting somewhere and just working through the organization, as we've heard from the example of the DHL, Deutsche Post. It takes step by step. And I think if you look at IKEA example, and I believe there's a case study somewhere on Global Child Forum's website that tells you a little bit more about this journey at IKEA. But children already, IKEA already put in children in focus back in 1990. They created a child-focused business unit. And that was at the time when the Convention for the Rights of the Child was introduced as well. So that's 25 years ago, so it's been a long journey. We have a zero tolerance for health and safety when it comes to how we interact with children's products and children's places in the store. And the company is very strict in terms of finding ways to make that an optimal situation for everyone. They started later on to see how can we see the product with children's eyes? How can we see the store? How can we make the store child-friendly? How can we make it easy for the child to also be part of the shopping experience? Now, in 1994, we had quite an issue at IKEA. We had child labor issues in the supply chain in India. That was a big shock to the company. Of course, the supply chain is not owned by the company, but it's still the company's responsibility to ensure that the suppliers act according to the rules and regulations and the code of conduct that the company has set up. So the company asked itself, okay, we can take the children out of the supply chain, we can enforce that, but that's not really going to do very much for the children and their families, because there's a reason the children are there. So that's when the company went to see UNICEF and Save the Children and started to discuss with them what is that we can do as a company to go beyond just ensuring there's no child labor in our supply chain, but what can we do to support these families and these children, the poor communities, so that we as a company can also be a part of changing these people's lives. Now, in 1998, the company developed the code of conduct for the IKEA way of preventing child labor. And back in 2005, we started something called the IKEA Social Initiative, where we started to expand the work with different partners, such as UNICEF, Save the Children, and several other organizations in the world, to see how we can help address children's issues, primarily in the health and education side. Later on, IKEA started the children's school. So they have a children's school for employees. So every employee has to go through a training to understand the impact of children they have on children and how company policies address children's situation. So everyone has to go through that. And then we expanded the social initiative, and 7 years ago we started increasing the work that we do through the foundation. Now, the foundation is different than the company. And as I said initially, I believe the company can do so much to the interaction it has with so many different people in society. Not only the 150,000 employees around the world and the 2 million people who work in the supply chain, but everyone that is part of that can be influenced. And as such, it's more important what the company does than what I do. So this journey has led the company to actually always asking themselves what is in the best interest of the child. So it's really deeply grounded in the values of IKEA, and that's how we think about things. I want to make a pitch for the Children's Right and Business Principles, because organizations like UNICEF, Save the Children, and Global Compact came together, worked with a few companies, and established these business principles, which is really a very good framework for understanding children's situations and how you as a business can impact children's situations. So if you haven't seen it, you haven't studied it, it's a very good document that helps you start thinking about how it relates to your business and your everyday operations. So I just want to finish by saying that it's not about doing good. It's understanding children's rights, and adhering to children's rights and children's principles is very good for business, and you can see that with IKEA. Thank you very much.